I never expected the school janitor to be the smartest man on campus. But then again, no one really notices janitors, do they? It started on a rainy Tuesday morning at Ridgewood Academy, a private high school with a spotless reputation and a student body full of overachievers, rule breakers in disguise, and kids with parents too powerful to question. I'm Mia Carter, 16, more of an observer than a participant. I don't play sports. I don't party. Just watch. And sometimes I notice things others miss. That week, chaos hit Ridgewood like a lightning bolt. The SAT exam papers went missing from the counselor's locked office. 3 days later, an anonymous tip revealed a married teacher's affair with a substitute. Then, someone leaked compromising photos of the principal taken during a questionable conference in Vegas. One scandal after another. Precision-timed, cleanly executed. No digital trail. No suspects. Just silence and panic. While the school was spinning with gossip, I found myself watching the only person who wasn't affected at all, Mr. Lewis, the janitor. He was in his late 50s, with silver-streaked hair always tucked beneath a faded baseball cap. Tall but slightly hunched, he moved slowly, methodically, as if every mop stroke was a meditation. He never spoke unless spoken to. Always wore the same green jacket. And most notably always had headphones in. Old-school ones, not earbuds. Big, clunky, noise-canceling types. No one paid attention to him. He was part of the scenery. But I noticed something strange. Every time an incident occurred, Mr. Lewis had been on the opposite end of campus. During the exam theft, he was mopping near the gym. When the teacher's scandal broke, he was outside spraying the student courtyard. It wasn't suspicious, until I saw the pattern. On Wednesday, I stayed late in the library and watched him push his cleaning cart down the hall. He paused, checked a small folded paper in his pocket, then turned right instead of left. Cleaning the science wing on a Wednesday. That was odd. 2 days earlier he'd cleaned the same wing. Most janitors work on rotation. I'd seen enough to know he wasn't following one. So I started logging it in a notebook. His route. Days. Times. I didn't tell anyone. Not even Leo, my only real friend and a low-key tech genius with a thing for puzzles. Within 5 days I saw the pattern. Mr. Lewis followed a grid system. Not based on messes but zones. Each day, he strategically moved through sections of the school, in a repeating but offset loop. By clockwork. Except the loop aligned perfectly with the crime scenes. Always nearby. Never present. Something wasn't right. The turning point came Friday afternoon. I was walking past the janitor's closet near the east stairwell and saw the door slightly ajar. Curiosity got the better of me. Peeked inside. His closet was cleaner than most classrooms. Everything had a place. Mops lined up like rifles. Shelves labeled with precise handwriting. But on the wall was something that made my skin prickle. A whiteboard covered in symbols. Not cleaning notes. Chart. Days of the week. Initials. Room numbers. Arrows and codes. This wasn't a janitor's plan. It looked more like a tactical operation. I snapped a quick photo with my phone and backed out, just as Mr. Lewis appeared around the corner. "Lose something?" he asked, his voice calm but piercing. He wasn't smiling. I stammered something about looking for the lost and found and hurried off, heart racing. That night I sent the photo to Leo. He replied with a single message. "That's not a schedule. That's a surveillance grid." We met at the library Saturday morning, spread out the data, and started decoding. Leo cross-referenced the initials and room numbers with recent incidents. Matched. The X marks lined up with every location where something had gone down. The timing was too exact to be coincidence. Leo leaned back, tapping his fingers. Either we've got a criminal mastermind hiding behind a mop, or we've stumbled into something way bigger. I couldn't sleep that night. The idea that Mr. Lewis, someone everyone ignored, could be orchestrating this chaos made my brain spin. But what was his motive? Revenge. Power. Justice. By Monday, I was watching him more closely than ever. Every hallway passed. every cart turn. I noticed he sometimes stopped by classroom doors without entering, just standing, listening. One time, I caught him sliding a note into a teacher's mailbox with no return name. Whatever he was doing, it was deliberate, calculated. That evening I followed him. He left through the back entrance instead of the front. No one else saw him. I kept my distance as he cut through the staff parking lot and entered the supply building. That's when I realized. His cleaning supplies weren't from the school's janitorial closet. He had a second stash. I waited until the next morning, skipped lunch, and snuck back into that supply building. Hidden beneath an old tarp was a locked cabinet, and just behind it, a smaller secondary whiteboard. This one had students' names on it, including mine. Beside my name, Observer, Mart, watch her. My stomach dropped. I wasn't just investigating him. He was already watching me. I should have turned back. Should have told anyone about what I found. But how do you tell a teacher, "Hey, I think the janitor is running a psychological operation and may have a file on every person in this school"? They'd laugh. Or worse, they'd tell him. And now I knew something terrifying. He knew I was watching. I didn't go home that night. Not really. My body was there, but my brain was spinning. Why would Mr. Lewis be tracking students? Why was there a note beside my name calling me smart and telling him to watch me? The next day I pretended everything was normal. Locker, homeroom, chemistry. But I was hyper-aware of every camera, every hallway, every mop squeak. I'd never feared a janitor before. But then again, I'd never met one who acted like a ghost with a PhD in human behavior. I finally broke down and told Leo. First, he thought I was exaggerating. But when I showed him the whiteboard photo and the note about me, he went pale. "Mia, this guy's not cleaning a school. He's managing it. Like a game board." We decided to dig deeper. Leo had access to the school's digital systems. His side hobby was ethical hacking. Mostly just pranks on teachers, like making their PowerPoint controls stop working mid-lesson. But this time he went further. He pulled logs from the door sensors, the keycard scanners, even the hallway cameras. The school's tech wasn't military grade, but it was good. What we found chilled me. Mr. Lewis's keycard didn't just work for janitor closets and maintenance rooms. It had clearance for the principal's office, the faculty lounge, the IT server room. Rooms no janitor should need to access. Even weirder, his card was scanned at odd hours, 2 a.m., 4 a.m., when no one was supposed to be in the building. Leo leaned in close to his screen. "Who is this guy?" I did a little more digging of my own. The school database listed Mr. Lewis as Harlan Lewis, custodial staff, hired 5 years ago. But no home address, no emergency contact, no social security number. That was impossible. Even janitors have HR files. That night I searched him online. Nothing. No social media. No digital footprint. No mentions in any public records I could access. The only thing I found was a press release from 12 years ago. Biotech whistleblower Harlan Lewis fired after security breach at Mind Tech Labs. Mind Tech Labs. That name rang a bell. I remembered it from a science article last year. A biotech company that specialized in cognitive pattern analysis, basically, using algorithms to predict behavior. They were once accused of using school testing data without consent. And now, our janitor used a behavioral grid to monitor students. Coincidence? I showed Leo the article. His face said it all. "Holy crap, Mia. He's not a janitor. He's a behavioral analyst. Disgraced one. And now he's playing judge, jury, and executioner inside a high school." Sounded insane. But nothing else explained it. The final straw came on Thursday. A senior named Alex, known for bullying, cheating, and mysteriously getting away with everything, was suddenly expelled. No explanation. Just vanished from campus. That same day, a private video of him verbally abusing a freshman leaked to the school board. Nobody knew who leaked it. But I did. I went back to the janitor's closet. I had to know how far this went. It was late. Everyone was gone. I brought gloves this time and a flashlight. The closet wasn't locked. Inside it looked the same, perfectly organized. But I found a false panel in the back, near the baseboard. Behind it, a hidden compartment. There was a typewriter. A stack of typed notes. No computers, no flash drives, just analog files. Each file labeled with a student's name, a profile, and a list of offenses. Cheated on algebra final. Used smartwatch. Bullies others. Compensating for parental abuse. Bribed coach for football spot. It was a psychological dossier on every major player in the school. Then I saw mine. A. Carter. Smart. Observant. High pattern recognition. Limited social distractions. Prone to curiosity. Monitor closely. Possible ally or threat. I didn't have time to process it. The door behind me creaked shut. And locked. Curiosity is dangerous, Mia. Mr. Lewis's voice echoed. Even. But I expected this. I froze, my heart pounding. He was standing behind the glass window, arms crossed. Still in his uniform. Still wearing those noise-canceling headphones. Resting around his neck now. What are you doing? I asked, my voice shaking. He sighed. Fixing what the system won't. This school rewards the corrupt, the connected, the cruel. No one protects the victims. So I level the playing field. I didn't know what to say. It was the strangest mix of terror and twisted logic. You're smart, Mia. I've been watching you. You see what others ignore. That's rare. He leaned closer to the window. But now you've seen too much. I can't let you jeopardize this. My fingers curled into fists. So what now? You lock me up. Get rid of me. He gave a small, sad smile. No. I just need to know which side you're on. Then everything went dark. The lights cut out. My flashlight flickered. I heard the door click again, but this time it unlocked. Footsteps receded down the hallway. He was gone. And I was free. But nothing felt normal anymore. I didn't sleep that night. I kept playing it over in my mind. His voice, the way he looked at me through the glass, how calm he was. Not threatening, not angry. Just calculated. Mr. Lewis wasn't scared of me. He had let me go on purpose. Like he was testing me. The next morning at Ridgewood Academy, the halls buzzed with a new rumor. Mrs. Blake, the strictest teacher on campus, had suddenly resigned. The night before, an anonymous letter was sent to the district, exposing how she'd been failing students unfairly and covering it up by altering the grading software. No one knew where the letter came from. But I did. Mr. Lewis was still watching. Still playing judge. Still pulling the strings. I didn't tell Leo I'd been caught. Or that the janitor knew everything. I needed time to think, to figure out what to do next. Because the question wasn't how to stop him. It was should I. He wasn't hurting people, at least not directly. He was taking down the corrupt. The cheaters. The abusers. People who'd gotten away with awful things because of power, privilege, or blind spots in the system. In a twisted way, he was making things better. Cleaner. But it was also manipulation. Surveillance. No one had given him the right to judge anyone. And then came the final incident. Our school's golden boy, Brandon Cross, football captain, honor student, son of a city councilman, was arrested. Police showed up right after lunch. Apparently, an encrypted drive had been anonymously delivered to law enforcement, containing proof of Brandon's role in a massive online cheating ring, a fake charity scam, and a series of hacked test scores dating back 2 years. He had everything: money, popularity, influence. Now he had a mugshot. The entire school went into shock. Teachers whispered in corners. Students started walking on eggshells. No one knew who'd be next. That night, I found an envelope taped to the inside of my locker. No name. Just one word. Meet. Inside was a time and location. Saturday. 9 p.m. auditorium. It could have been a trap. I went anyway. When I arrived, the auditorium was dark except for one light. Center stage. Mr. Lewis was sitting there, casually flipping through a file. He didn't look surprised to see me. I knew you'd come, he said. You've been asking the same question I once asked myself. I stood a few feet away. Which is? He looked up. If the system is broken, is it wrong to fix it from the inside, even if it means breaking some rules? I didn't answer. He stood slowly, setting the file down. You're smart, Mia. You care about justice, not popularity, not appearances. That's rare. That's why I'm offering you something I've never offered anyone. He reached into his coat pocket and held out a key. To the surveillance room. My real one. Not the janitor's closet. You deserve to see everything. The whole truth. He hesitated. I don't need a sidekick, he added. I need someone who can keep me in check. Balance the scale. I've seen what happens when people like me don't have that. Took the key. Not because I trusted him, but because I needed to know how deep this went. Saturday night, I followed the directions scribbled on the back of the envelope, past the boiler room, through a hidden maintenance tunnel, and finally into a room the size of a storage unit, lined wall to wall with analog monitors and audio feeds. He hadn't hacked anything. He'd built his own network. Old-school surveillance with motion sensors, wired cameras, and hand-recorded notes. No digital trace. Just paper trails. It wasn't illegal. But it wasn't exactly ethical either. One wall was covered in red folders. Each a student, each with a name, dates, habits, behavioral flags, and risks. But then I saw something else. A folder labeled, Administration. It included blackmail material on the principal, 2 department heads, and the athletic director. All of them had protected students like Brandon. All of them had ignored reports from victims or lost evidence. They weren't just negligent. They were complicit. I sat down, stunned. I'm not trying to be a villain, Mr. Lewis said behind me. Just a correction. I looked at him. So what happens now? I help you stalk students. Run your data machine. No. You help me decide when to stop. That was the moment I realized he didn't want control. He wanted a conscience. And somehow he'd decided mine would do. I didn't give him an answer that night. But I didn't destroy the room either. In the following weeks, things at Ridgewood changed. Quietly but powerfully. A known bully started treating others with respect. A teacher who used to play favorites suddenly became fair. Students who thought they were untouchable began turning in assignments on time and behaving better in class. The administration made changes too. Policies updated, oversight committees formed. Nobody knew where the pressure came from. But I did. And I still had the key. Mr. Lewis didn't watch me as much anymore. Maybe he didn't need to. But every so often, when I'm alone in a hallway or the courtyard, I hear the soft squeak of a mop behind me. Not close, just present. Quiet reminder that sometimes the people we ignore the most are the ones who hold all the power.